Welcome to Round Hill Radio. I'm Leslie.
I'm Ed.
Hey, Ed.
How you doing?
I'm good, and I'm excited because we are filming our podcast today. So for our YouTube audience, welcome to Ed's office.
Welcome.
He is a learned scholar.
They're good for show.
Yes, we're sitting in front of a large bookcases for our audio listeners. So this is an exciting thing. We're trying. You might see many more of these. This might get accidentally deleted. We'll find out.
We'll see how it goes.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Because we're just getting finished with our Advent video series.
We are.
So we've been videoing a lot of stuff.
We have.
We're getting into the game.
We've had this wonderful idea, which you started us on, and we've had our very own Advent calendar. So that's been really great to be part of that.
It's been really fun. I feel like Advent's lasted like 9 weeks because we started filming in October.
Yes. Yeah, it's gone on for a lot longer than the official 4 weeks.
It has. We've gotten all the marrow out of the bones of Advent.
I think so.
And so I've been thinking about Advent and about Christmas and how the common culture they call it the Christmas creep.
Yes.
Right?
And it starts early.
It starts at like Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we as people of faith hold Advent is my question for you today. And how do we find that balance?
Yeah. Great question.
Thanks.
It's nice to be able to share it with others.
Yeah.
Right? We're all part of this together.
Absolutely.
So it is a great question because for many years now, we've had this sense in the church that Christmas has overwhelmed, the consumer part of Christmas has overwhelmed what the church has been trying to do. Sure. But the church voice hasn't necessarily been very strong in the midst of all of that, right? So what is the church trying to do? Mm-hmm. And, I'm sure that as people are listening in on this is a fairly common struggle that we have. We're trying to understand that this lead up to Christmas, we recognize that it can be a very special opportunity to grow spiritually, but we're not exactly sure how that's happening. So one of the things that was really a gift this year was to be able to use this Advent calendar, which is a great tradition. Probably many of our listeners viewers have had a chance to have these Advent calendars.
Oh, yes. Right? This year, I was a little bit on a diet, so I didn't do the chocolate one, but instead I got one for my dog.
Oh,
with little Advent, little treats in each one.
Bones.
Yeah, they're really. Yeah, so I've been celebrating Advent with Penelope the dog.
And Penelope enjoys
She's really into it. I don't think she understands it, but she's in it.
Excellent. Well, that part of this, so at the basic level, the nice thing about building from day to day, and we did talk about this in some of our Advent calendar episodes, is that it's a cumulative effect. We're trying to open some space in our lives. Advent is this great invitation, actually, to pull ourselves back from some of the routines that aren't healthy or the pace. Of course, what makes it a countercultural experience is that the culture's in a headlong rush to create a very consumerist context so that we will buy it, so that it'll be a successful, commercial enterprise. But that's not what's on the mind of the church at all. We're really trying to open ourselves so that we can find out how's it possible to be more peaceful, more loving, more forgiving, because we're not just we really aren't preparing for the birth of Jesus on Christmas. That's already happened.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
What we're really preparing for is for the experience of Christ to come into our lives in a wholly new, dynamic way. So that even if we're feeling really vibrant about our faith, there's always room for growth. And I think that's what Advent is about. And in that sense, Advent can happen at any time of the year. It's whenever we say to ourselves consciously, I want to create the things, I want to clear out some obstacles in my life that are taking up too much space, taking energy away from my soul and my spirit. And now I want to put some things in place that will be healthier for me so that we can be a greater force for good.
Well, I think that's so interesting because I felt like this year I have observed in myself an expectation of stress that I feel like
it's coming.
It's December, therefore I should be stressed. And so I feel stressed, but then I take a moment and it's all under control. Everything's fine.
Hallelujah.
We're all fine. And that like almost habitual, especially working in this field, right? We have
Yes.
to gear up for Christmas, but a lot of it is treasured traditions that we do every year. So we're not necessarily reinventing the wheel or doing a whole big necessary project. And there's a lot of great, wonderful things. The choir is going caroling. Like these are not high stress things. These are high fun things.
Exactly.
But I feel like I should be stressed.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell a secret here, which I probably shouldn't, but here it goes,
Okay.
right? So the line that I've been getting over many, many years at this time of the year is, this is such a busy time for you, right? The other parts of the year really aren't busy,
Not
just
at all.
this one.
Not at all.
And so it's interesting because that's a cultural expectation.
Right.
Everybody's busy, everybody's stressed, everybody's this. Not so.
Yeah.
And I find that people increasingly are stepping back and are having your experience. Like, this is odd. Why am I not feeling more nervous right now? Why am I not feeling more anxious?
Right.
This is so interesting because, of course, the message given to all of the characters in the original Christmas drama, Joseph and Marion, right, is don't be afraid. So this is our chance to practice what it feels like not to be afraid.
Oh, wow.
And I think the culture gives us a lot of chance to practice, right? Because it's saying, no, you should be very afraid for all these reasons.
Yeah.
But we're saying, no, we're free of that. Now we get to see what that feels like when we try it on.
Yeah. And that's so interesting too, because, in the normal part of the year, we have lots of wonderful things to look forward to and enjoy. And Christmas is just such a wonderful time, at least, musically, we just have so many wonderful things to, I have our favorite hymns and our favorite Christmas songs and trimming the tree. And someone was asking me, oh, you must be stressed out right now. And then they said, oh, and isn't Easter bad too?
We have two bad times during the year.
Bad times, right? And air quotes. And I said, well, Easter is like Christmas, but without the twinkly lights. It's amazing how soothing one finds some twinkly lights.
Indeed.
We have a neighbor down the street who goes bananas with the twinkle lights, but he does them all in the just white. So it's just this like swatch.
Oh, wow.
A swath of white.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think moments like that, when you see that beauty, these are moments that aren't happening during the other seasons of the year, and you appreciate it, sort of the illumination, just driving around the roads around Greenwich, and suddenly you'll see this amazing tree, beautifully, illuminated. And those are the surprises that are part of the year.
Yeah.
So you were just very instrumental in helping to create the Christmas pageant, right? Which is a very significant production.
It's a party.
Every year.
It's a party.
And the one thing of so many things that I appreciated about the pageant is simply this trust. Let's tell the story. Let's just tell the story in as beautiful and interesting way as we can. We will have some comic moments along the way.
Always.
Unintended for the most part.
Whenever there's children.
Right, of all ages. And I left feeling that I had heard that story told in a really beautiful and memorable way. And that's why really, if there should be any time of the year when in fact it's not hard, when it's not a job, when it's not stressed, it really ought to be this. It's kind of like growing up sometimes, we'd get on these rafts or whatever and get out on the lake or get out on a river and just kind of let things float. And we'd sort of let the tide carry us. And I think that's part of what happens at this time of year. Just let this powerful tide of this story and its promise of love become part of our lives, and try to open up the places where it's not, so that that love can really be a force for good in us.
Absolutely. I was thinking about how yesterday we had a snow, again, air quotes, snow day. There wasn't actually snow. But today when I was taking the dog for a walk, all the leaves and all the branches are like coated in ice.
Yes.
And it sparkles in the light.
Yes, yeah.
And it's one of those things that if you take a picture of it, it doesn't capture it.
No.
So you have to just stand there and absorb it as much as you can Because you can't, I took a picture. It's not a very good picture. It just looks like water on a tree.
Yeah. It doesn't quite get the deep underlying significance,
it does not.
right?
No, you lose the rainbow.
Yeah. But you're right. There is ice, which can be so dangerous in so many ways, is also so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing that I keep coming back to in these stories of Christmas, like yesterday, which was a disruption in the schedule in one sense, it can also be a kind of gift because it gets everything to settle down for a while. Sometimes work doesn't happen or school doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And now you're almost forced to take a day.
Right.
Or even if you have to work, you work from a different location. And the Christmas story from the beginning is about people whose lives were disrupted. Mm-hmm. It was a very disorienting experience for them. Some of those characters kind of wanted out of the drama,
right,
but hung in there and allowed themselves to be talked back into it. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to forget that, the coming of the transcendent into the daily life is not always welcome. Mm-hmm. And yet it can also be beautiful if we allow it to be.
I love that. It was a great thought for the day.
A thought for the day.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Ed.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thanks for joining us,
Thank
video
you.
watchers,
Come back
and audio
anytime.
listeners. We'll see you next week.
Blessings.